Okay, so welcome to my first voiceover on one of my workout videos. So, as promised, this was the hamstring and traps workout that I did during the day in the life, and I figured I'll come over here and share it with you guys so you guys kind of see what exactly I did. My first time using a tripod to film my workouts, and like I said before, I felt like a fraud. So this is not going to be a frequent thing. It's going to happen maybe once in a while if I can't get a videographer, but it's not going to be the standard. So, what do I usually do for working sets? I usually do about 4 working sets. A lot of times, I'll typically finish up my final set with an intensifier. So, it could be a drop set, dropping the weight per stack and then trying to go for 8 to 10 reps or to failure, depending. Or sometimes I use another intensifier, the Patrick Tour SST method that I learned from Carlos, which typically would be, using the same weight, but attempting the same weight to failure with, say, like a 50-second interval of rest, 30-second interval of rest, and then 15-second interval of rest. But for today, we're just doing good old school drop sets. So, man, these days are some of the last days I'm going to be training here at Apollon since we are moving pretty soon. So, some of this footage, I think in the next year or two, it's gonna really hit home for me. This gym, after I pretty much got out of college, I started training here at Apollon. I wanted to get away from the commercial gym structure. And I decided to come over to this gym over in Edison. It's one of the last bastions here in Jersey. I'd say them and Strong and Shapely are probably the last two of like really old school gyms that you'll find in New Jersey. And it's really gonna hit home. I turned pro in this gym. In fact, I could say confidently I put on about 50 pounds of muscle or of tissue just in this gym alone. And it's not really big. If you ever come here to Jersey Edison area and you came to this gym, you'd be surprised when you see it versus what you see in the videos. It can't be more than 1,000 square footage with just a shit ton of machines just jammed in there. And we don't have a lot of people that come here, which is great. If you notice, that's honestly one of the main reasons why I come here. I can come to this gym, get my workout done. People here kind of understand bodybuilding. They understand the requirements and what's needed. So I don't have people, trying to talk to me all the time or, trying to disturb me during my set. People come here to get the job done and they go home and that's it. So it's a place I'm going to miss very much. But at the same time, it's necessary. Moving to Dallas in these next couple of weeks, I'm really looking forward to training on, different sets of equipment. I'm going to miss this ham tractor, by the way. This is probably the best seated leg curl machine I've ever used in my life. It's a Flex Systems. They don't make these anymore, the Flex System brand. But apart from that, I'm going to miss, uh, some key pieces they have here, like the Nautilus chain pullover. It's just such an awesome piece of equipment. So moving on to the single leg press, I do a single leg, and for people who don't know how to use a leg press for a hamstring movement, you want to put your foot at the very top of the plate. That'll give you more of a hamstring activation, typically versus just using the quad. So I do a single leg on each of these for my hamstrings, just for the simple reason that You'll see in a little bit of a moment, but as I've started getting bigger, I've noticed that I have some muscle inconsistency in terms of the strength curve between my right leg and my left leg. So I had pulled my quad a couple years ago, and I think that couple of times just created some imbalance in terms of just the muscle strength, not really the size. They're kind of the same. It's just the muscular strength. So you'll see that as the movements tend to continue to go by, that left leg there starts to lose a little bit of strength comparison to the right leg. It just doesn't have the muscular endurance that my right leg typically has. So you guys will see that in a little bit. It's pretty crazy. Well, while we wait for that key moment, I still just want to talk about, you know, training in a facility like Apollon. I think environment is very important when you're doing this bodybuilding thing. You want to definitely get away from the commercial gyms. There's a reason why you don't see a lot of bodybuilders working out at LA Fitness or Crunch Fitness. Your environment's very important, because training is not just a physical thing, it's a mental and psychological thing too. Like when I go to some of these gyms and you see people just messing around, they're sitting on machines for 50 minutes, or the guys there are just there to ogle girls and shit. Like it's you feed off your environment. And if you're in a place like that, or a place where everyone's always just looking at you, where it kind of feels weird, it really you just don't feel comfortable. I'm one of those guys that I really don't feel comfortable when people are just like looking at me all the time. But here's our key moment. You see that? So yeah, it's as it continues to go, my leg just it's like, dude, you're killing us. But you know what? Fuck it. This bodybuilding. If you die, you die. The left leg, if you go, you go. You're gonna keep moving that weight. But yeah, anyways, your environment's very important. So for bodybuilders or people that want to do this starting out, my main advice to you is find an environment where it's a very bodybuilding conducive gym, where you can be left alone to do what you need to do. Don't get into the habit of coming to the gym and talking to every single person. Treat it like a job. You get in there, you get your job done. And if you have a lunch break or after work, where you want to talk to people, yeah, you take 10, 15 minutes of your time to talk to people. But when it's time to train, it's time to train. You treat it like that, and I'm telling you, like, your training will elevate. I've trained solo my entire life. I've never really had a training partner. So for people like that, you really need to, you can't be dependent or feed off someone else. It's got to come from you. And the sooner you develop that skill, the more effective your training is going to be long term. Yeah, that's my main advice that I would give someone. Find a good gym like this, quiet, and not really a influencer type gym, and just get the job done. So, with that being said, this was the final set of the training, or should I say the leg press. We're going here. Went for 3 plates. Same thing, slow, controlled. My movement patterns have changed a lot since I started working with Andrew. Just a lot more control, less ballistic, and just trying to engage the muscle. I've noticed just training like this too, I don't have to use as much weight as I used to in the past to recruit my muscle fibers. And I'm seeing a lot more growth, you know, because like we said before, you get to a point in bodybuilding where going up, the risk to reward is just not worth it at that point. So you got to look for ways to make your training a little bit more effective. So moving on to the next exercise is simply just adductors. And I'm only going to put one set here for you guys to see. It's a little bit weird. You know, it's one of those movements you don't make eye contact with anyone when you do it. You just do it like, dude, don't freaking look at me, you know? But, you know, same thing. Run it about 3 sets. Go as heavy as you can towards your final set. Close contraction. A lot of guys, especially on the amateur ranks, they don't do a lot of adductor abductor movements. If you want, like, you don't want thigh gaps on stage, you know? So if I were you, this is definitely something that you should definitely incorporate in your training. And when you do it, like, I see a lot of people, I use a gym pin too to do it, but I see a lot of people, they're so focused on the weight that they're not really engaging the muscle, so to say. So the negative on this movement, in my opinion, is one of the most important parts. And then I would always take this to failure, personally. I would always take this movement to failure. If you're doing this during your actual quad days, not your hamstring day, but your actual quad days, you definitely want to put this last because it will affect every other movement pattern you're trying to do, like a squat or like a hack squat. You know, if you do it the way you're supposed to, your quads should not be able to support that weight efficiently, you know, if your adductors are taxed. So just food for thought on that one. And so the final thing we had for today was traps. I don't know if it's just me, maybe because I train at a non-commercial gym. I don't see people do shrugs anymore. It's just not a movement that I see people do at all. It's one of those lost movements, but I still do them. I think it's very important for obviously your traps, your upper back, and who doesn't like big traps, right? You ever seen Johnny Jackson back in the day? His traps were like freaking mountains. So it's a movement I like to do. I usually run this about just 3 to 4 sets. You don't need too much. You typically will do, you know, a lot of supporting movements for the traps. So, you know, I go up to 4 plates, sometimes 5, depending on how I'm feeling. Keep in mind, I'm coming off a prep right now. Not really pushing, you know, right now. So 4 plates is decent enough for what I need as of right now. And that is what we did here. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this workout. If you like this format, let me know. No promises, but I'll probably try and do it from time to time. I'll see when I get to Dallas, see the landscape, you know. Maybe I'll film one of these from time to time, but definitely trying to get a videographer out there to get more of the YouTube content going, kind of like we did for the In the Cave series. So be on the lookout for that. And right now, I'm still sitting at about 265 right now, and think I'm doing okay. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.